ready. And they're off. Snowmaster was a little bit slow to find stride as they race for the Boyle Sports daily racing rewards at Joel Stakes at Group 2 level. This £125,000 race over a mile, and it's Flight Plan who goes forward early under Sam James. Leads by a length over Detain, the pink cap, also ran third in the Prix de Jockey Club earlier on in the summer. The unbeaten Zeus Olympios is next in the yellow and black. 3 out of 3 so far for him. Alongside in the royal blue, the well-backed Opera Ballo, already a 4-time winner this season. Then last year's winner of this race, Prague, in the green silks, and Snowmaster, who was a little bit slow to go, is now very keen, covered up behind horses as they continue the way up the home straight, and they'll soon be at halfway. Flight Plan goes along out in front, leading from Detain to the left-hand side. More towards the stand side running rail is Opera Ballo and William Buick. Next to that one is Zeus Olympios, and then came Prague. Snowmaster at the rear of the field. They're racing now down towards the bushes, about 2.5 furlongs to go shortly. Flight Plan is now shaken up in front, challenged either side. Opera Ballo travels really strongly in the royal blue. Detain is now been shaken up. Zeus Olympios tries to come into it near side in the yellow. Prague is wider out. Snowmaster now being left behind. Racing out of the dip with a furlong to go. Opera Ballo's off the bridle. Here comes Zeus Olympios now beginning to take aim, and now he's hit the front, racing inside the final half a furlong, and it's Zeus Olympios. He'll remain unbeaten. He strides away to win the Joel Stakes. Zeus Olympios from Opera Ballo, Detain third, then Prague, Flight Plan and Snowmaster.
Well, Zeus Olympios has remained unbeaten, and he gets an appreciative pat from Clifford Lee. He's won the Group 2 Joel Stakes for Karl Burke. In second, downed Opera Ballo. And those fears about the track, perhaps partly to blame for this defeat. But he's also bumped into a very good horse, William Buick on board for Charlie Appleby. And in third was Detain, Colin Keane riding for the Gosdens. 2-1 second favourite, Zeus Olympios is returned. And it's the main horses filling the main places, just the first two not in the order the market expected.
Yeah, and I think my instant reaction is to not really focus on the opposition and what they may or may not have done wrong, because Zeus Olympios in the end has run out a really impressive, decisive winner of another race that was a step up in class for him, and I don't think everything went to plan for him as much as it did any other horse in the race, really. He's keen early, doesn't drop his head, and then when the race is starting to develop, William Buick moves forward on Opera Ballo, gets first run really as Zeus Olympios is getting slightly crowded and having to switch, and if he wasn't quite such a good horse that could have been his undoing, but he's picked up very quickly once he's in the clear and brought to the near side and stretched away in very impressive fashion late on. So I think things didn't go exactly to plan or didn't go all that smoothly at certain points of the race for the winner, but he's overcome that to win in style in the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think Opera Ballo hasn't fully settled. I think he's seen a lot of daylight. He's not racing within himself at this point, but your eye is drawn to Zeus Olympios and how smoothly he's travelling, as this is the point where you were just describing, where Opera Ballo and William Buick plays his card. Yeah,
I mean, there's a moment here where you're thinking, oh, this is going to go wrong for Zeus Olympios because he's got caught up just at the wrong point of the race, but actually he gets out of it, and he's got a length to find, but, you know, he really picks up strongly, doesn't he? And he's got a very likeable way. He skips along this quick ground well, hits the rising ground and stretches right away. I mean, he's clearly a very, very good horse. He's a very smart horse. This is not to take away from the winner, but the runner-up hasn't handled the track. No, he didn't love it. No, I think he is a better horse than that Opera Ballo, and he didn't get the cover that he probably wants ideally in a race, unlike on the July course where he was parked up behind horses. That didn't happen today, and the pace wasn't as strong as we might have expected beforehand, because Snowmaster was taken back and missed the break a little bit, and Prague was restrained as well, so it was just left to Flight Plan on his own. But
yeah, there was only one horse who was equal to it, and that was the winner.
Certainly was, yeah. Zeus Olympios, very smart horse in the making, isn't he? Already at a pretty high level. 2-1, Clifford Lee and Karl Burke teaming up. One of the best named horses in training as well. Second was Opera Ballo, 5-4 on favourite, beaten fair and square by what looks a well above average 3-year-old.
Well, prior to the Joel Stakes, much of the talk was about Opera Ballo, but he was down by Zeus Olympios, a very, very talented horse, clearly in his own right, and beaten in 4 starts. His trainer is Karl Burke. Congratulations. You must be feeling really pleased with what you've just seen.
Yeah, delighted, Lydia. He's a lovely horse, great natured horse, goes about his work at home really well. All he's done is physically improve month to month at home. As I just said there, I thought it might be a little bit step too far at this stage, but it was the last race he could really run in, and I just thought, why not? You know, we've won a Group 3, why not go for a Group 2? Then we know where we're going next year, and that's shown us exactly where we're going next year.
Well, we'll talk about next year because it's going to be exciting in a moment. But can we just reflect on his year? He didn't run at 2. He made his debut in January. Then there's quite a gap to Thirsk, and then a little bit of a gap until the last time. How come? What's been going on with him?
He arrived with us at the end of last year, and you know, we had to back off him. He had a little injury, not a serious injury, but we had to back right off him as soon as he came, really. And as I said before, sometimes with those 2-year-olds, immature 2-year-olds, when they get those little stress fractures and stuff like that, it can be a blessing in disguise that you lock them up, because all they do is physically grow and mature. And then we brought him back steadily. Obviously we ran him, I think it was Kempton, he broke his maiden, did that really well. He was just ready to do that. Then we had to leave him alone again and just take our time with him, and then, you know, went to Thirsk and obviously did that very well. Haydock, you know, then there was another gap, but you know, he's just been a horse that we've had to just take our time with, and I think that's true of a lot of Night of Thunders. You know, you as 2-year-olds, they can be a little bit fragile, so that's what I've learnt in the last 3 or 4 years, having a few Night of Thunders. But I think he's obviously over all that now. He's moving really well, and very happy with him.
So, taking all of that in, when was it at home that you started to really rate him?
We came with a bit of a reputation from Roger Variance, to be fair. You know, we were told he was a very nice horse, and Roger really liked him. But as I say, he picked up a little injury that we had to lay off. So he always worked well, but we were always sort of working with the handbrake on, if that makes sense. And, you know, we were never asking him too much. And he was just about ready to run without having a hard gallop going to Kempton, and obviously did that really well. So we knew he had an engine without asking him too much at home. And after that, same thing really, just stepping stones, small stepping stones all the way.
And I'm fascinated to know what Clifford Lee said, because it didn't look to me like the race went entirely to plan, because he wasn't able to fully settle in the early stages.
No, and it's probably my fault, because when the Godolphin, what looked like the lead horse for their horse, came out, Flight Plan's obviously a horse, quite an exuberant horse in his own right, and likes to go forward. So I said to Sam, well, don't go too mad, because it'll play into the Godolphin's hand. And you know, after 2 furlongs, I'm thinking, oh, I've made a mistake there. You know, the Godolphin horse, the favourite, had settled better than we had. But I just think that's our horse learning and knowing what he's here to do. And they didn't go that quick early, and then when the favourite got first run on us, I thought, well, it's going to be a good horse now to pick this up, and he obviously is.
Yeah, yours is a very good horse. Right, now let's talk about the exciting future. Is this a miler? Are we going to see him in all the top mile races? What do you see him as next year?
I'll have to have a talk with Sheikh Mohammed Obaid, but he's obviously got a big turn of foot. I don't see mile being any problem for him, and I would imagine we'll start off something like the Lock-Inge and go from there, but that'll tell us whether we're staying at a mile or stepping up, unless his work tells us obviously through the spring. But he's obviously a horse with a big turn of foot.
And it sounds like you're not tempted in any way to supplement for Group 1s at the back end of the season.
I don't see there's any need for that. You know, QE2 is the obvious one, but the owner has Rosalian in that, and if it's quick ground, Rosalian will definitely run. If it's slow ground, do we need to? I don't know. I'd have to speak to Sheikh Mohammed Obaid, but I would think not.
Okay. And finally, sadly we don't have much time left, but I should ask you about Merrick, who runs in our next race. What chances for him? Yeah,
he's a horse coming back after a little niggly injury as well. After his first run, I think he's more of a mile 6 horse myself. I think he'll need the run, and the ground might be a bit quick. I was a little bit worried about the ground, but I don't think there's any jar in it, but I'd say he'll come on a bundle for the run.
Okay, well, best of luck in that, and I really look forward to seeing what you do with Zeus Olympios.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Thank you.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.